Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Fantasy Aussie Rules Show, brought to you all by GameDay Squad. Now, coming up on this episode, we're going to break down all things Aussie Rules Fantasy so you can get ready. We're going to look at round 12, the round that just was, and then we're going to preview into the round that's about to be. We have two buys this week with Freo and your poor power off this week. It's going to be good. You can just rest. You don't have to worry about this Ken business. You don't have to. Rosie can get an extra week on the stringer. You must be feeling good about that for sure.
Hey, mate, good to be here. No, I don't. I'm not excited because it's an opportunity where we can't lose. Yeah, I know. I don't like watching us play at the moment. I really don't. So I'm rocking a hard place. We can't lose, but I don't have to watch my boys. But in saying that, I do love watching my boys. I just, it's just a bit frustrating. But I'm not here to talk to you about Port Adelaide. I'm here to talk to you about the peanut butters. I'm excited to do that because, as you know, we had our first week of multi-competitions and it was a bit of a mixed bag. I'm keen to get into it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Well, we've got some timestamps down below in the description, so if you're looking for something in particular, head on down there. But if not, sit back, relax, and let us chop up the round. Cal, why don't we talk about your team, the Peanut Butters, first for round 12? How did it look for you?
Well, before I do that, I'm just going to say, watch out, because today I'm going to tell you why in the transfer market segment I am looking ahead for 2025 and how that's impacting my transfer market decisions. But this week, how did I go? 68th with 2,696. That pushed me down to 46th overall. Around the grounds, we obviously focus on our classic competition in this show, but I want to give you my around the grounds in order: 90th, 68th, 70th, and 45th. In that being the champion competition. So, didn't trouble the top in any of them, but it was a lot of fun. I don't know about you. We've got some big updates coming through, which should make it easier for coaches to be able to keep an eye on all their scores across the weekend, because they're, having 90 plus players playing was a lot of fun, but also means you've got to be on top of a lot of things. But I'll run you through my team. So my top three, and this is why I thought I was off to a bit of a flyer, because I had some huge scores. Clark, 181. As a bronze. Ryan got 166, and I played a gold of him. And the Bont, 183 as a bronze, and I played a silver of him. That last quarter from the Bont was insane. So looking at that, I was going, I'm set for an absolute flyer here. But unfortunately, while I did get the very high picks right, I got a few absolute duds, and these are the ones that cost me. I played Butters as a gold, and his base only got 77. I played Dawson as a gold, his base only got 75. And the one I'm not proud of, Tom, the one I haven't been looking forward to telling you, is that I actually played Jackie Lukosius up forward. It was thin. I went for a pod. He got 51. It was a bad pod. It did not work out. And those are the players that basically cost me some prizes there at the top. So that is my squad.
Wow, yeah. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. Lukosius, I don't know if I saw that one coming, I'll be honest with you, Gal. But I also, let's get into...
Shout out the Suns, though, and shout out to Kerm.
Yeah, true. The Suns are playing some really good footy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the commentary in the weekend was the Suns haven't lost at home but haven't won on the road. They're literally the Crows from 2023.
Could be true.
I'm pretty sure they've won all home games and they haven't won a single one out. So, mate, they're loving it. Up on the Goldie, they're loving the Suns out. Suns are out. Boys are getting fired up. Maybe they could make the 8. That would be awesome. But let's get into Zeus Cannons.
Don't jinx it.
I'll just talk about my classic team. Ranked 59th, 2,732 fantasy points, and I went from a seasonal rank to 13th to 17th. I just keep catching up. I keep dropping back off. It's just a couple decisions here and there that are costing me weekly, but I will tell you, one was completely out of my control. I'll get into that a bit later. Let's go through my best performers. The reason why I did well is Luke Ryan, 166, Sammy Walsh, 155, and Nick Dacos, 141. Some tidy names in there. My bottom three, Brian Myers, 60, in what I thought was the game to get it right. It was such a good matchup for him. The matchup matrix was in a meltdown throughout it. They couldn't figure out why.
Hold that thought. I'll be roasting him in a second. Don't you worry.
Good man. Jordan Dawson, 75 as my all-star. It's always tough. Like, I know you said use the gold, but when you have the all-star, that special card, because my Bailey Smith is still sitting in my sideline with his ACL detached. So I need him to perform. And Jack Steele, 108. Just as a midfielder, I had a silver on him. He didn't do great. I was going to throw this third guy in, or this fourth guy, sorry, but I couldn't because he got injured. It's not his fault. It's James Harms from the Bulldogs. Now, I was looking at his form. I went a big pod this week. These games rolling into this,
That is a
125 as a silver, 177, 90, 107. He hasn't scored below 100 fantasy points in each, and he played 11 minutes in this game and got subbed out injured. I was absolutely devastated. I couldn't believe it. My hands were on my head. I thought I have picked an absolute, what I thought was going to be a round winner in Harms because we didn't do the live. We didn't do any of that. So people didn't know I was going to start him this round. And he's ended up just costing me big time. So 7 fantasy points, subbed injured is what it is.
Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah.
That's, and you still touch me up. Far out. Jeez.
Yeah, so it's not looking good for the peanut butters.
Peanut butters need to buy desperately. We need a mid-season buy.
Yeah, mate, I'll tell you what, I was actually, and I remember you were texting me, and then the worst part was like, did you start Bont? And I hadn't started Bont either. And I'm like, I'm going to get mowed down this week. This is it. I actually started Trelaw over Bont.
Because like I told you, I had all your top players as well. So in my top 5, you would have seen on screen, I played Dacos. I played, who was the other one that you said? I played Walshy. I played all these gun players. Just my floor just fell through. Ridiculous. Yeah. That's the difference. It's a tough round.
Other than Myers, Dawson, and Harms, everyone else actually did really well for me. Like my third worst player was 108. So everyone else as a base was really good. It's just those 3 really, really stung this round. So is what it is. We move forward. We look to the next round in round 13. And I'm excited because my boy Errol Goulden's back. It was tough not to play any Swans, any Lions, any North players. We had 3 teams that are so fantasy relevant that we had to build around for the past round. So it's good to have all these weapons back in my back pocket to put in.
Giants always knocking on my door. Yeah, you're sleeping. Of course you are. Well, before we completely go into next round, can I give you the dud of the award? I'm getting real sick of giving this award. I think, what are we head-to-head now? Is it 10-2? Is it even worse than that? Jesus. All right. Dud of the round.
10-2, I think.
Yeah, I said it before. Brian Myers, only those 60 points in what was incredible matchup against the Tigers. I don't know what was going on there for the Cats. I didn't get to watch the game. But every time I kept checking my phone in the first half, I was like, this should not be what the score is. But he would have been in a lot of squads this week. So fortunately, he's been in such good form across the season. I think that would have hurt everyone. So, yeah, very disappointing. And he gets the dud of the round.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I usually do the stud here, and I've gone a bit differently this week. I'm going to shout out an entire team. It's going to be the Fremantle Dockers. Everyone turned up in their squad over the weekend. They touched up the Demons firstly, and an absolute flogging. Ryan, Clark, Young, Sarong, Luke Jackson, take your pick. All 115 fantasy point plus outings, all turned up as mentioned. One of their worst performers was Brayshaw, which is just still, I can't believe the season he's having. A bit mind-boggling. But if you picked any of those players in your squad.
Terrible game, 112 points. And he was like the 9th highest.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so it was one of those games where anyway, yeah, Fremantle Dockers, credit to you. You all get my studs of the round.
Can I share something from you about that game? Because I was actually driving back I was out west. So I had a few hours in the car and I just had the radio on for this game. And it is a different experience. And one that I absolutely loved when all I could hear was to Ryan, to Clark, Clark, and it's just like you're driving drive, and it was a bit of like dopamine every single time I'd hear it. It was incredible. I had Gorn as well, who obviously was great in that game. Had a bunch of hit outs. It's like hit out by Gorn. I'm like, geez, he must be up to like 50 the way they're saying it. So highly recommend it. It was good fun. And a great game, obviously, for it.
Commentary as well. I think they mentioned Ryan and Clark disposal the ball to each other more than any other duo in the entire AFL for the season. So these two love to get the pill in each other's hands and use each other. So I thought that was interesting. But I've got a special one for you this week, Cal. We usually do a nomination or something, and mine is all 9 lives have been used up.
Ooh.
Can you have a guess what I'm talking about here? Geelong Cats are in some horrible form as a team.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. I understand that the Swans' one loss this year was to Richmond, but we're not just counting this game. We're talking about some form over the past couple of weeks. So for us, like, we've known Geelong as the powerhouse team. I know there's been some injuries. I know there's been some players in and out, but still, I just think they've come to the end. They had a strong fourth quarter on the weekend against Richmond, but the first 3 they just lost. They lost in like every aspect of the game. Shai Bolton wasn't playing in this one either. In terms of fantasy and even in terms of their team, I just think they're having a horrible season. Tom Stewart is in career worst form. Myers was really bad, Cal, you touched on. Jezza hasn't exploded yet. Normally, like, I remember the start of last season, he was kicking 7 goals a game. I don't think he's kicked over 3 this year. So it's just a different Geelong Cats that we're looking at this year. And my comment is that all 9 lives have unfortunately been used up. Had to happen at some point.
Yeah, it's a good one. Shout out to Hef from the Keeper League. He texted me after Port beat them and was like, I bet you anything now, Geelong will go on an awful run of form and this win won't look as good as it did in a month's time. And sure enough, we beat them and they've gone in some of the worst form. But at the time, everyone was like, oh, Port won. So shout out, Hef, you absolutely nailed that.
The Cats.
That is example 1A of why we do not get excited even when things like that happen, which is terrible. But let's go to something good. Can I give you my weekly award? Something different.
Yeah, go on.
This week, it's going to go.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
The surprise loves thanks to multi-comps. So here's a bunch of players who I fell in love with watching over the weekend that never get into my squad, never make it in.
Okay.
Treloar, Cripps, Viney, Kane Farrell. You know I've got a lot of Kane Farrell cards and was ready to deploy all of them this week. And Charlie Curnow. Just a bunch of fellas that I was like, I love having these guys as part of my squad. They're killing it around the middle. Curto looking hella dangerous. Farrell out the back just eating chippies. I loved it. It was fantastic. We get so used to our one group of players this week. It was nice to have a bunch of different players. I even had Stephen May in my champion competition because I somehow have a diamond of Stephen May. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to roll that bad boy out. Didn't have the game, didn't have the 30 marks that I was hoping he had. But I tell you what, even having players like that, it does make it for a bit of fun. I hope everyone else enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it was super fun. It was super cool to have. And I actually had Treloar in my starting squad as well for Classic this week. So, yeah.
I tell you what, he might
what a round that was.
I didn't want to stack him and Bont.
Yeah. But, mate, I want to get into our transfer market targets. I don't know how you're feeling this week about this segment, Cal, but I have an absolute banger. I have been really, really bang on with my transfer market targets for everyone this season, and this one could be my best yet. And we're 13 weeks in, Cal. 13 weeks in, and I'm still providing some absolute bangers and some heat. That's all I'm saying. It's a forward. Can you have a guess who it is? It's not Harms either. It's Alex Sexton. Now, Alex Sexton is, if I'm sure you all heard, or if you were there, my Fisher spiel the other week. I spoke about a particular role change. I spoke about Fisher becoming the distributor, and Sheasel going into the middle. It looks like the Suns have literally done the exact same thing, but we're talking about Sexton. He's down there with Flanders. They're kicking to each other heaps. He's now playing in the defense. Let's look at his past 4 games in particular since he's had this role change. He's cracked the 100 mark 3 times. He has a 4-week average of 116 fantasy points. And as a forward this year, that is like set and forget numbers. We've got a 146 and a 120 performance in those 4 as well. Alex Sexton has come through at the perfect time for fantasy coaches right now and is someone that you must need in your forward lines because depth can be hard in that position. But when you're playing the distributor role coming out of the defense, there's nothing that I want more from a forward. So I'm telling you, Fisher, Sexton, these players, get him in your squads. Otherwise, you're going to be starting off the next round on the back foot.
I've got a lot to unpack here. First of all, Sexton's been in great form. You can't say after he's gone on a month of this form that, hey, I've picked another goodie. If you'd have done this 3 weeks ago, I'd give you credit for. 2 weeks ago, maybe. But 4 weeks after he's just gone on a run, you can't turn around and be like, he's a must start. These are the numbers. Come on, I'm not giving you that
There's
one.
There's a 104 and 94 in there.
I'm not giving you Sexton.
How many times have you started? Sexton. How many times have you started Sexton? Coach, how many times? Tell me.
Twice. Both this week in different competitions. No, not in my classic side.
Okay, but not in your classic. This week. So that's
I'm
what
pretty sure I've got a platinum Sexton. Yeah, I tell you what, I should have played him. I definitely picked the wrong son. But yes. No, he's a good pick. Anyway. I think coaches definitely should have him if they haven't clued on by now. But I'm not giving you this one. I'm not letting him go 150 or 120 this week and you being like, I told you. So no, I'm calling you out on that one. Let's talk about 2025, Tom.
Fair enough.
I told you I wanted to tell you why 2025 is important now. And it's not just because my squad's in the classic is already thinking about draft picks and tanking. 2025. It's going to be bad for some players and it's going to be good for some players. And if you were switched on, it could mean some very, very, very good things for your squads. And that, of course, is position changes, Tom. About this time of the year, we start to get a good idea of what players are going to be doing what with their positions. Now, I think it's really important to sort of call out how it works here at GameDay Squad. Our stats providers give us the official positions of players. They say if they're a forward, a mid forward, a ruck, whatever. If a player is mid and something else, they always get the other thing. There's more details about it in our support docs if you want as well. But use that as the rule of thumb. If they're a defender mid, they're going to be a defender. If they're just a mid,
so if there's dual position eligibility, they always take
away from them.
The other. I like it. Nice.
Yes. But where it's concerning is when you take some players, is Isaac Heaney, who has only played as a midfielder in 2024, is he going to lose his forward status completely? This is the sort of thing you need to be thinking about. And also, someone like Jack Sinclair, is he playing defender at the moment? What about Hayden Young, Tom Powell? Those guys that are playing not as midfielders this year, you've got to keep an eye on it because they're going to be really, really important. But on the flip side, you can start to see if someone is playing in a position that is outside of it, this is where you can find some really good value. So someone like Nick Martin at the moment, picking up that defender status, would be fantastic down back because he's playing as a midfielder. He's floating in and out of squads. I guarantee you, if Nick Martin is a defender, he will be in squads next season. Fisher as well. You just spoke about him. Looking like he's going to be a defender. Means that he's definitely someone else you can be picking up. So my update this week is plan ahead. Look for these players that are going to be changing their positions next year. Last year, it was all about someone like Bailey Smith. Because imagine if we had Bailey Smith at full health running around in the forward line. He would have been an absolute bargain for coaches this time last year. Unfortunately for you, Tom, he is down with an ACL. But still doesn't mean you can't be looking into it. So look at those midfielders those forwards that potentially are going to lose that. They're obviously going to lose their value. Think of someone like Dunkley last year who was set and forget. Even someone like Butters. I don't imagine Butters in every week. So Rosie obviously lost that. So it is really important for our game. And smart coaches need to be on top of it. So that is what I'm going to be telling coaches to focus in this week market update.
Yeah, wow, Cal, lot to unpack there. I do agree. Position changes are so important, especially for someone's fantasy, potential and like output for next year. Fisher, as you said, Haney. I reckon even if you put him as a midfielder this year, he's got an average of about 130. That's top 5, top 6 there. So does he still start in your squad? It's a really good argument to make, and it's definitely something you do want to get on the front foot for because, you're going to get all the value now because later, once everyone else catches on, it might be a little bit too late to start making some money moves, as you said. I love it, Cal. But, Cal, it's time for you to get into your matchup matrix. Hopefully, the matrix are working this week. I know we went into an absolute meltdown last week or a couple of weeks ago with the Gorn and the Marshall situation. So are the matrix back up and running? Are we ready to rumble?
We are definitely ready to rumble. I'll try my best. I've got a few for you here. Ooh. First up, it's going to be a goodie. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Don't play Port and Dockers players this week.
Nice.
Just don't do it.
Fair enough. They're in the buy, so you probably shouldn't.
Yeah. Nah, that's not it. I'll give you a bit more than that. They're obviously on the buy. Just testing you out. All right, I'll run through these ones. Richmond, still the second best matchup for mids. Play Dawson back this week if he's healthy. I know there were concerns about him. I know he did have a stinky game. If he's healthy, you still want to play them because despite them putting it to the Cats on the weekend, Richmond are still not a good side. So I'll be playing Dawson and Tom. I'm sure your All-Star will be back on the field for you. Essendon have had the third hardest mids to score against in the whole competition. So this is a tough one because we've just seen Anderson go for 138. So does show you mids can still score. But for me, it's really got me thinking about Sammy Walsh. He's been a mainstay in my squad. I don't know if I like that matchup for him. He's obviously going head-to-head with Merritt. There's some gun mids for both teams there at the moment. But it's definitely a matchup that the Matrix is saying avoid for your Carlton players. So, yeah, play a Walsh if you dare. And my last one is defenders versus North. So they still are the second easiest for the mid-sized defenders to score against. And for me, that just means Duggan and Yo are going to have a field day. They're going to run around at the back, hopefully get that Jordan Clark, Luke Ryan link up and just kick to each other every single time they get a chance. Take those marks, take those kicks. Should be a field day for them. Yep. I'm playing at least one. The question is, do you play two?
Do you play two? Yeah, do you play more? Okay. Like it.
And that is this week's matchup matrix.
Ooh, I love my boy Duggan. He's going to get some cheapies, some chippies out the back. That's what we love to see. Yeah, mate. Good matchup matrix this week. I'm loving it. Some good matchups to start with confidence, but then there's some ones to avoid. But I don't know. Walsh it's an interesting debate. We'll see when it comes to Thursday. How you feeling about it all, Cal? Alrighty, I'm not sure if you can tell, but we do have some technical difficulties going on right now for the show. Cal's blaming my internet. Of course, I'm blaming his. We're not quite sure what's going on. This week, I was going to give him an exam for my professor segment, but he's come in with a doctor's certificate. His parents have signed it off on a doctor, and he's claiming that he needs an extra week and that he's not up to it. All right, so I think there's not much I can do. The legalities behind this is that I must give him that extension. I must give him the time. So we'll push back the exam just 1 week until we got everything up and running as per normal again. But of course, we'll see you all in our live show on Thursday where we're going to unveil the squads that we're going to roll with for the round, and we'll answer all of the burning questions that are on your mind. So hopefully this is all coming through okay. Leave a like if you're still here. Leave those comments down below. Tell us what you want to see next week. And anyway, we'll catch all your legends in the next one. Peace out, everyone.